Alright, so
Hi, I'm Fred Smith,
I'm Paul Stewart Ford.
and we would like to be discussing about firearm safety. That's a big thing. Paul, I know you have been reading up more on statistics and stuff about the firearms and what's been going on around the world and the misuse of them. So can you please fill me in on some of the information?
Alright, well, there's three different things I could be talking about. I could say something about the suicide rate, about how most suicides are brought through firearms. I could talk about alcohol and drug abuse.
That's a big thing. Here in America, people really, like kids our age mostly, take the Columbine shooting, for example.
Yep.
Those kids were obviously mentally ill, and they couldn't handle owning or using firearms. And they used them for the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And people who commit suicide, they have a past of deep depression, and it's just, I don't see how we can really use, how we can help in a way, but I would really like to. But how could we reach these people before they hurt themselves or others?
Well, first of all, keep all firearms safe in the home. Like if your parents own a firearm.
Actually, recently, I was reading an article somewhere in Washington State. There have been several accidents involving young children getting a hold of unlocked firearms, and they have killed themselves and hurt others. And I think that's another big thing, is people who own firearms, you must safely store your weapon and your ammunition in two different places, because you don't want someone, to break in your house, or your kids finding the gun and the ammunition in the same area.
Yep.
That's just, it doesn't really help. That's why, or you get a nice safe. Particularly, I am a person who owns firearms, and I practice all the safe rules that apply using them. So,
all right. Well, another measure would be the firearm sellers. They'd have to go through background checks, which they're supposed to by law. I've recently watched over this interview over some underground firearm sellers that met through online, where online you don't have to go through any background checks. You could just click on what you want, and they meet you the next day. That's pretty unsafe to me.
Well, then I think that's where more police should be taking note on how people are doing this, through computers and messaging people, and all the illegal underground firearm trades that have been going on. Even when you go to gun shows, you might have that one deal where you just pay in cash. And the thing you should do, if someone ever offers you a firearm for cash on the spot, and there's no paperwork involved, and you don't go through any background checks, and it's not a clean thing, I wouldn't do it. That guy could have used that gun to rob a bank or kill someone, and he gives that to you, then you're on the lead. But that's the one thing. Your firearms should be purchased through the state.
Yep.
They should be registered. They should have all their serial numbers on them.
Background check.
And background check on your person and all your family members.
I'd probably suggest to the state that they have a mental background check too, as well.
Yes.
Just in case. Because the only thing that you can get off of a real background check is if they've had a violent past. But the mental one would help provide them with what they could possibly do.
That's a big thing. I always thought that was an interesting thing. If someone is mentally impaired, someone who has severe depression, or someone who has schizophrenia, someone who basically can't handle themselves outside in the public without causing some sort of scene, I think those people shouldn't be able to purchase firearms. Even someone with a small felony, I believe it should be harder for them to get weapons. Because if someone, even if it was a break and entry, or you hit, or you break into someone's car, I believe it, by law, it should be 4 times as harder to acquire a firearm than anything else. Because that was one of the rights that we were given as being a U.S. citizen, the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment. You may not take that away from us, all right?
But everybody has the right.
Everyone has the right, but you should also, it should be just a little bit harder. And I believe that that's very important. So Paul, what other things would you have to say?
I think we pretty much covered it. We went over safety. We talked about how the mental part. The other thing that we haven't really covered was alcohol and drug abuse.
That's another big thing in America too. Even all around the world, people drink, and drinking turns into more drinking, and then you got the depressed people who drink more.
And we also have the drugs, which anything can happen. Like,
on a related story though, my uncle, he was a heavy drinker and he owned firearms, and he was depressed and he killed himself, and that was very hard on me. So I look back at that saying I need to help people before they hurt themselves or others, because I don't think it's right for someone to be sad at themselves, so to the point where they hurt themselves, kill themselves, or hurt others, or kill others even. So I think that's a big point that we should make across, that alcohol, drugs, mental illness, those do not mix with firearms at all. I mean, it's basic. It's like, would you give a mentally impaired person a shotgun, fully loaded? I wouldn't. I mean, it depends how you look at it. To be honest, I wouldn't trust half the kids in our school with guns.
I don't think so either.
I mean, it's sad because, like, it's a useful tool. We've been using it since the early 1700s. It's been used for hunting. It's just a tool. It's sporting even. I'm a captain of the Rogers JROTC rifle team, and me and my cadets, we have fun and we shoot, and we do it safely. We follow all the procedures. I teach them. I make them go over all the rules. I make them take the safety pledge and the safety test. So, in reality, I think it's good, and it will help us. But, I just believe that people should be more understanding about firearms. Because there was a saying, and I heard this saying once, and I really liked it. If guns are responsible for killing people, then pencils are responsible for misspelled words. That saying basically, guns aren't potentially dangerous by themselves. It's the person behind the gun. And yeah, we'll leave it off at that, and we'll probably show you more.